How's it going, guys? As some of you may know, I have been working on a project for the last few months, getting a website up for myself to focus on blogging, and I'm in an entrepreneur podcasting program to start a podcast as well. They're going to be about mental health and addiction through the story of my own family history and my personal experiences with both of those, as well as how this relates to some of the political and social issues that are going on, and then some science and technology and philosophy stuff mixed in. So I'm interested in a very wide range of different things and how they relate to each other, because I'm really interested in trying to understand myself and other people and the world that we live in, and in, you know, how to be mentally healthy, how to deal with struggles that you might have with your mental health, and personal growth and success and entrepreneurship, all sorts of stuff. So because this is such a wide range of topics, I tend to feel like I don't have the credentials or the knowledge to really talk about these things, and my self-doubt comes into play, and I have a lot of fear of judgment and criticism from people kind of being like, who the fuck is this guy to talk about all of the kind of stuff that I want to talk about and that I want to create, writing and videos and podcasts on. But I just got off two back-to-back phone calls with two coaches that I'm working with, trying to develop this project that I'm working on. And I had a significant part of those conversations were talking about this fear that I'm experiencing because I'm trying to create something. I'm trying to put myself out there, and it's scary, as you can imagine. Fuck. So one of the things that my coaches and I talked about is that, like, this is a completely normal, completely human thing to experience. Because if you're trying to create anything, whether it's art or a business or whatever, if you're trying to create something that you're going to put out there, then we have this fear to try to sort of protect us from criticism and judgment and rejection, because we don't really have any natural predators or natural things to fear anymore. So almost all of our fears that we experience now are social fears, right? Like, the only thing we really have to fear is each other and ourselves. And if you push that social fear and the fear of rejection back as far as you can to like a evolutionary standpoint, it's essentially based in the fear of death. And this is a concept that I've come across in a few different places recently, because, only a few hundred or thousand years ago, if you got rejected by not following social norms, or in this case, putting something out there that might result in you getting criticized, if you got rejected, you might get banished from your tribe. And because we're such social creatures and we can't survive without one another, especially in the wild, rejection and banishment would have actually meant likely death. And that's not that long ago in the grand scheme of things. So the fears that we feel about rejection and criticism in trying to create something, they're just a part of what it means to be human. And my my friend Jay recently was telling me about there's this guy, Seth Godin. He's a best-selling author and kind of like a serial entrepreneur, really successful dude. Something that he says about that fear is that, like, it doesn't matter how successful you get or how far along in the process of creating, projects and businesses and stuff like that you get, this fear kind of doesn't ever actually go away. So that's something to keep in mind. If you're trying to create anything, just know that that fear that you feel is normal. It's human. And even some of the most successful people in the world, they are constantly talking about how, like, it might get a little bit better with your ability to deal with the fear and to push through it, but it's not actually going to go away because it's this biological mechanism that is there to protect us. And it's kind of going a little bit crazy in this world where we only have social fears and no real natural predators or fears anymore. So it's not going away. I heard a story even a while ago about how even like someone as big as Beyonce, she apparently gets so nervous before shows that she sometimes still throws up before she goes out on stage, which is mind-boggling because she then, after doing that, still goes out on stage and kills it, and she's a superstar, right? So even for the most successful amongst us, that's something that you have to kind of look as being almost like a companion with you along the process of creating anything. Because one of the reasons we have so much fear about putting something out there is because we care so deeply about it. But you'll see successful people almost across the board talk about that. There's not really any secret to dealing with this fear per se. The only thing that you can really do is do the work. Make the thing, make your art, make your creation, build your business, and put it out there. Because it's only through working through a body of work over time that you start to build the confidence, right? Like there's this podcast that I really like. It's called The Motherfucking CEO, the MF CEO Project, with this guy Andy Frisella. And this guy's an amazing speaker. He's like a no bullshit type of dude. Guy gets paid like $75,000 an hour to do to speak at conferences and stuff like that. And he gets a lot of people emailing him and messaging him and stuff like this on social media and whatnot, being like, well, Andy, how do I get over my fears, or that I don't have the confidence to do this thing that I want to do? And he says straight up, like, you don't do things because you have confidence. Like, people who are doing things, people who are successful, they're not doing them because they had confidence or they had the skills to do them when they were starting out. Like, confidence and feeling good about the things that you're creating and knowing that you're getting better only comes through work. It doesn't work the other way around. You have to do the work and then see that you can do the work and you can push through the fear to do those things. And then you start to build confidence afterward. It's the same as this concept my coach Jay told me about before, that there's 4 C's to success. And it starts with commitment. Like knowing why you want to and why you're going to do the things that you say you're going to do and that you want to do. You have to know why you're going to act. And then when you do that, you get the courage to act because you know the reason why you're committed to your mission and you do the things. And it's only through going through that body of work that you start to develop the third C, which is capabilities. So you start to get the capabilities that you want and need to do your mission. And then you get the confidence. Confidence only comes from the commitment and the courage and building the capabilities through action, through doing the work that you then start to see what you're actually capable of and feel good about your skill level and things like that. So the main takeaway is that feeling the fear of judgment and rejection for going against the norm outside of the social norms to actually build something is completely human. It's completely normal, and it's not going away, at least not anytime soon, and at least not without you doing a whole buttload of work first. So the only way to really deal with it and push through it is to just do the work. That's it. It's simple, obviously, and you've probably heard it a lot of times, but it's the only way. And there's a great book by this woman named Susan Jeffers called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. So if you're struggling, maybe take a look into that book or this MFCEO project. But whatever you do, just know that what you're dealing with, what you're trying to go through in the creation process, everybody goes through. It's not unique. You're not special. This is just a perfectly normal thing that happens when you're trying to essentially build a new identity. You're trying to change who you are with the things that you think and do and your willingness to put them out there. And you're always going to some level have kind of this old self, this old identity, an old way of thinking and being kind of up at odds with your ability and your desire to build a new self and a new life for yourself where you do the things you say you're going to do and you create something and you put it out there in the face of fear. So don't give up. You're on the right track. If you have somehow come across this, I would love to hear some feedback from you, what you're working on, the fears that you're having. Let's talk and just keep putting yourself out there, and you'll get to the level that you want to be with what it is that you're creating. Okay? Cheers. All right. So this is a test, testing the sound and all the things. Yeah. I wonder if this should be closer. Should it be closer? It's probably fine. It's probably fine where it is, eh? All right. Test over.